Hello guys, going to be going over the PrizePicks MLB slate for Monday, June 13th. We have 10 games today and taking a look at first inning run props. I think one of those that are going to be pretty popular is this Phillies Marlins one for the under. I'm personally not going to take this right now because I just don't really like attacking good offensive teams like Philly when you're taking an under, even when there's two great pitchers, Alcantara and Nola on the mound. So that's why I'm staying away from this one. Phillies, the ballpark, the weather, all those just really aren't the best for pitching. So that's why I'm going to stay away. One that I'm keeping an eye on is actually going to be the Cubs and Padres because this game's in Wrigley Field and wind has dramatic effects for the stadium. And it's projected for 13 miles blowing out, and that's a really big deal. So even though Yu Darvish isn't really someone that we want to attack, these wins are no joke. And I mean, the Cubs, they do have some really good bats, at least for power. So anything you put in the air, they could definitely carry out. So that's why I'm leaning towards the over right now. But we're going to have to wait about the weather. It's also 84 degrees, so it's warm. And Justin Steele on the other side has a lot of issues I'll get into right now, actually. So first inning run props, just the Cubs and Padres one that I'm kind of leaning towards the over, but I'll make an update on this tomorrow when we do just get closer to the lock time. But heading to pitcher fantasy score, and we're going to get into Justin Steele. So he was at 27.5. I posted that earlier on Twitter. Now he's been adjusted to 25.5, but I still kind of like this one because, one, you have the weather. So if those conditions are going to be that hitter friendly, of course it's going to be pretty bad for the pitcher. And pulling up Justin Steele's numbers, he has some good ones here, like a low hard hit rate, low barrel rate, but he walks a ton of guys, and 12.3% to be exact. His splits as a lefty, he hasn't really given up a ton of power, as seen with the barrel and hard hit rates, but his games where he's done well, they've mostly come against like weaker opponents. Like you're gonna see the Pirates, D-backs twice in there, and he pitched really well against them. So it's just like I think a spot like this one in the Padres, where against lefties they rank 10th in WRC plus at 111 against lefties, and then the walk concerns for Steele, I think those are gonna definitely be a problem here. Padres walk at the third highest rate against lefties this year. And anytime you have a pitcher that walks guys, you're just going to get into trouble. You're going to put guys on, a base that's going to drive someone in, and all those earned runs, those negative 3 points are going to add up. So that's why I think this is going to be an under for me. You got Yu Darvish on the other side, so it probably is going to make the win +6 very tough for Steele to get as well. So it just feels like this is still a little bit too high. Probably will get to 23.5 tomorrow, but I have no problem taking this one at 25.5 for the under. I think I probably would have locked this one at 27.5, but 2 points less, I think I still will play this. And then an over, actually also at 25.5, is going to be Merrill Kelly. So taking on the Reds, Cincinnati, they're just a different team when they're playing on the road compared to when they're away. So when they're at home in Cincinnati, Great American Ballpark, their WRC plus is 14th, and that is 105 to be exact. And then when they're away, their WRC plus is 65, which is just horrible. And that's third to worst. Overall, just this Reds team is going to be going to Arizona. And then looking at Merrill Kelly, he's definitely someone that will pitch better when he's at home in Arizona. And just, you have a pitcher going back home with a team that's going to have a massive ballpark downgrade. A pretty right-handed heavy lineup as well. Pulling up the projected lineup. So it's 104 degrees. I don't think they're going to close the roof just because the fans are going to have to sit through this weather. But it's a 4.1 run total. I also kind of like the strikeouts at 4.5. Not really sure which one I like. It really depends on the lineup. Like if Cincinnati comes out, they put up a lineup that has a lot of higher K guys in their roster, then yeah, I'm going to lean towards that one. But we don't know that because the lineups aren't out this early, so going to have to update that. But I personally probably will take the overs for just kind of both of these props right now. So that's how I'm approaching it, but probably will be able to pick the one that I'm more comfortable with as we get to see the lineups later on. And now onto hitter fantasy score. There is one, but this is more of a like a line discounted play rather than just pure like matchup and that sort of thing that I usually do. And that's going to be Ian Happ. So talking about Yu Darvish, talking about this game, very good hitting conditions, or at least it seems like it. And Ian Happ, he's one of the better hitters on this Cubs team. Yu Darvish isn't going to be the easiest matchup, but Ian Happ only at 5. He's a switch hitter, so he does show a lot more power, have a lot more power when he's hitting as a lefty against Darvish. And I'll pull up Darvish's numbers. For him, this year his K rate's really dropped, and it's gone down almost 10%. I would say you're probably not going to see it stay that low for the whole year, but Darvish's numbers, like, they're really not that impressive. He's 35 years old. Maybe age is kind of getting into him or something, but I mean, some of the numbers here, like spin rate, something that's pretty important. His spin rate's dropped for some of these pitches, like the slider, a good amount, the cutter, kind of, not that much, but just like the fastball, that's a bigger drop, and that's probably why he's just allowing a higher batting average. Like, expected is at 222 where he was at 149. So that's probably also a reason why he's just not generating as many whiffs, as many strikeouts. And Happ has strikeout problems. Maybe those are going to be lessened here. And if the wind's going to actually be blowing out this significantly, I think you're getting a pretty good discount for a game that just has really good hitting conditions. So I'm leaning towards the over on this one, but going to have to revisit the weather by lock. And then on to total bases. This one's just going to be all about Blue Jays, and I'll look actually to Bobashev fantasy score first. 7.5, and you look at the Blue Jays, Springer's at 8, Vladdy's at 8.5. And all three of them have total base props. So what I've noticed is sportsbooks usually will have Bichette as the guy that just has more, or I would say lower payout if you do bet on sportsbooks, which would mean better value on PrizePicks, because PrizePicks, the payout's always going to be consistent. But today they have Bichette and Vladdy the same, and then Springer is the one that's lower than these two guys. But I think all three of them are in very good spots. They're just like, they're going to be facing Kyle Bradish, who's not a good pitcher, pretty much fastball slider exclusively. And looking at these guys, how these three do against the fastball slider, they're pretty much equal. Like, they don't really have, one's like not significantly better or worse in either of those pitches. So I would say Bichette, you can definitely lean towards the fantasy score because he has speed. Springer can steal as well, but Bichette has the lowest fantasy score projection. So that's why I think if you bet 7.5, it makes the most sense. But if you want to bet Springer or Vladdy, take their total bases. So I'm probably going to have all three of these guys just in all these entries. You're probably going to see total home run props for this team. So I would say you stack those together and then take another prop to make it a 3-pick or maybe a 4-pick, 5-pick. So that's how I'm going to approach the Blue Jays. And then another one's going to be Jose Altuve at 1.5. So the Astros taking on Taylor Hearn today. And Taylor Hearn, he's been worse this season, and he is a lefty. He has some significant splits. Not the best against right-handed batters. And Altuve, he has very good power numbers against lefties. This game's going to be in Texas, so you're going to see Altuve, or the Astros have another chance in the top of the 9th to hit, so that could mean an extra at-bat. And Hearn, just a ton of blue here. His splits, significantly worse against righties, and then expected ERA is actually going to be worse than what it is right now. He walks guys at 10.8, 20.3 K percentage, so I do like Altuve at 1.5 total bases for the over quite a bit. And then we actually have 2 hits and walks plays. Both of these are going to be the over. So Matt Olson, 1.5. He's just someone who walks at a really high rate. I think it's about 10%. And then they're taking on Washington in Josiah Gray. Yeah, Josiah Gray, he has massive splits against lefties and righties. Very bad against lefties. Like, look at his power numbers, his whip. I always love attacking lefties or attacking Gray with lefties. So because there are walk concerns, control issues with Gray, I think you can take this hits and walks for Olsen just so you don't lose out if he happens to only get one hit. But I would say I might prefer total bases for Olsen if we do get that option. And then another one's going to be Manny Machado, also 1.5 hits and walks, but the same thing applies here. If we get total bases, I'm going to take that one as opposed to this one. It's the same thing for Olsen. Just Justin Steele's someone who walks a ton of guys, so that way we have at least the luxury of hitting this prop for the over, getting it right if Machado does indeed walk. And then some of these other ones that I do have an eye on, runs and RBIs, nothing right now actually, but I'm keeping an eye on Chris Morel and Jake Cronenworth. Weather. I mean, that's the big thing for today. So if the weather's indeed going to be that great, we see the run total really skyrocket into the 5s, then that's going to definitely make me feel a lot more comfortable, and I'll add these to the plays, possibly even locks. So for right now, I'm not going to give any locks, but I would say my favorite play is probably going to be Merrill Kelly, and then depending on how this Cubs and Padres game goes, gonna probably add these if the weather is indeed as great as it is for hitting as it seems. So that's it for the video for tonight, guys. Maybe we do get some more props that I like in the morning with the additional pitchers and then more total bases added. So thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all the support so far. I'm gonna try to keep this going, and hopefully you guys make a lot of money, continue the streak that we have. And again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.